All right, so our intros are pretty short and sharp.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is just hand over to you, and you tell us a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
Yeah, I'm Josh. Joshua Singh, born and brought up in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Studied here all my life. Traveled
Yep.
a bit in across those years as well to different countries. Started an Instagram brand when the platform first came up.
Yeah.
And really focused on faith
Yep.
as my avenue, because that's the environment I grew up in. I grew up in a church environment. My dad's a pastor, so that worked pretty well. Then obviously I studied at university and Bachelor of Information Systems and Marketing. And went into different corporate fields like Vodafone and Office Max and now at Air New Zealand. And along the way, I would say that I've discovered or evolved as a person, right? And in every season, there's a different version of you that you get to discover.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think I was very, very outspoken in the faith place.
Yeah.
On Instagram, I built that. And then LinkedIn came out. I started tapping into that.
Yeah.
YouTube's still there. I mean, I try to get across everything, because I know the future of marketing is going to be personal branding, right? So that's a bit about me. I don't know if I should. I don't know what else to say about me, man.
That's heaps. I'm going to dig into it because there's a few things that, like the saying that just came up there, that I want to ask about. Why do you think it's important for you to say you're New Zealand born?
That's a really interesting question, because I think a lot of people think I'm just born and brought up in India, or flew over from as a migrant family. But my dad was a migrant. He came to the country when it was like in '89 or '90, and then I was born here. I grew up in South Auckland, man.
Yeah,
I grew up in Mangere, man.
I know you did.
And I grew up with a range of different people, and I saw what life was, And I remember my dad, doing the hard yards. So, I think it's important to note that I am Kiwi, and I love being a Kiwi.
Do you feel like you have to tell people that? Is that something that's often people aren't sure?
I think my accent kind of pulls it, tells people, and also, I'm quite forward-thinking in terms of, I don't think, I don't think in the cultural norms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because I think that is something that's quite interesting about you, is that, you are this walking contradiction sometimes.
That's interesting.
Well, you take your last name, right?
Yeah.
It's a religious last name.
Yeah.
But it's not the religion that you practice.
Yeah.
Or the faith that you practice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
the
correct.
faith that you practice. And there's a lot of things in that. And even the faith that you do practice, because it's Christian? Christian. How many things belong to the Christian faith, right?
100%.
And so I think that's also something that probably, how often do you have to justify your positions in place, or do you just not give a crap?
Actually, I don't really have too many people asking me that question.
I think sensitive,
No, it's not that. I don't think people dive too much deep into the deeper story. I think people probably see what I do and they interact with me based on that level.
Yeah.
So,
what is the story? How is it that Sings? A big part, your dad, it's his church, right?
My dad started the church 20, 25 years ago, right?
Tell me that story.
So he was a missionary. He left home at 16 and he started, he was involved with the local mission, and then he left Australia, got involved with the church there as a missionary, and traveled all around the Ocean Pacific, right? Then landed up in New Zealand to start his ministry, they would call it.
Yeah.
And he worked with the Indian community because he knew the pains and the needs. And he was one of the first Indian churches here. So predominantly I come out from an ethnic background church, you would say. It's not a multicultural church as such.
Yeah.
But now I'm faced with the challenge of working with a second generation of Kiwis or Indian Kiwis and walking with them through the faith. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a journey that's a whole other conversation, man.
It's a huge one, though.
Yeah.
The reason why I press on it, and the reason I wanted to talk to you about the faith stuff today, is because as a brand, it's a there's three things that I always say to clients are wary things to talk about in terms of content, and that is money, politics, and religion.
Correct.
And you built a brand on faith.
Correct.
Almost exclusively up until about 3 years ago or so, right?
Yeah.
When you started doing LinkedIn stuff, which you sort of separated.
Correct. And that was a big challenge, I must say.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was my identity was deeply rooted in that, right? And so that was my scope. That was my gig. I could talk about, I still can't talk about it.
Yeah.
You get me on a church platform to hold a mic, bro, I could preach.
Yeah.
Right? But you get me on LinkedIn talking about business, it was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I had to dive into the gift set because I don't think gifts, and as much as they can be scoped or categorized, I think your gift set can be utilized in multiple platforms.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that first of all, Instagram.
Yeah.
And the faith audience that you built there.
Yeah, correct.
What was the goal?
The goal was to get as much as content and get, but to be honest, let's get as many followers as we can.
Yeah.
Because when Instagram started, I was all about followers, man.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just get like 10,000 followers or 15,000 followers, and like that was a goal.
Yeah.
Obviously, I noticed as I grew, followers dropped off, but a lot of my followers have stayed across the game.
Yeah.
And they are evolving as well, as much as I am. So it's quite interesting.
What are you sitting at now, follower count?
Well, 6,500 or
And what's that
6,000.
journey been like recently? Like
It's slowed down.
Yeah.
Got to be honest with you. Slowed down, probably because of the algorithm stuffing me up. But anyways, I think what I've learned in the midst of it all is finding your rhythm to just post and not measure yourself with metrics.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, I measured myself with metrics, right? And my self-identity or my self-esteem was based on how good I was doing with numbers. How many views, how many likes, how many comments I was getting.
Yeah.
But I think you get to a point in your life, you're just like, nah, don't care. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
People respect consistency, man.
Yeah, for sure. And have you is your community pretty strong on that platform? Like, are a lot of people who are part of that?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
my community right now is locally, global, right? Global and local, right?
Yeah.
But I find there is a much more massive reach in India if I tapped into it.
Yeah.
If I tapped into Dubai or the southern, like the Middle Eastern countries, there's a lot of faith-based people there that I haven't even tapped into yet.
Yeah.
Neither have I done any marketing, right?
Yeah. Oh, here we are here.
Yeah.
And have you, as you've sort of evolved this brand, because your content's like pretty well produced too. It always has been.
Yeah, I've got a good group of guys that help me out,
you got a
man.
group
Like they'll always back me up.
Is it so? Are these like guys from your church and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So they're all helping you.
100%.
Yeah. And so now, what is the goal?
That is a question that I'm trying to figure.
Yeah,
That's a really good
interesting.
question because I don't have a direct answer to that.
Yeah.
Right. I think at this age and stage of my life, I'm trying to figure out how I can cross collaborate my platforms and also look into long-term monetization.
Yeah.
And for me, I've always had the base view, like how can you monetize faith, right? Like, I mean, I could do courses, but like, what's the premium on a course? You know what I mean? And like, it's scalable. Courses are scalable, but is it really engaging? Is it life-changing? You know.
Yeah.
I could create a funnel, but it's all short-term, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm trying to figure out where that is.
Why do you think? Because you've like lent into this faith stuff on here. Do you pull punches? Like, do you lean right into the faith hard on here? Like, because like I'll tell you why. It's like I'm not. Your content doesn't resonate with me on here, so I don't watch a lot of it. But like, in terms of, I probably watch your stories more than I watch anything else. But in terms of your content, like, is it strong enough of an opinion that people really get behind, or are you quite reserved in your approach there?
Yeah, I've probably taken a centered approach.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to start any wars yet.
Yeah. Yet.
Yet. Because with war you need to be ammoed up, right?
Yeah.
And you got to have the time to respond to people, right? It's I could just bomb the place, and put really crazy truths out there, but if it's misinterpreted, which is the world we live in now, everything's misinterpreted. Everybody has a subjective view. Then I'm gonna have to respond, or the brand value degrades long term.
Yeah.
So I'm actually trying to figure that out, dude.
Yeah,
because
interesting.
There are some stuff I could say from a biblical perspective that will not resonate with certain people that are following me. And they could be like, hey, what are you up to?
Yeah.
Comments could start, and then people start sharing that stuff, and it could blow up. But I could capitalize on that too.
Yeah. And I feel like it's one of those things, right? faith-based stuff is that there's a fine line between like, do you just become a digital church, or are you actually offering some other value to people? Because you've got a church.
Yeah.
So when I mean digital church, is that there are almost scammer-like people out there using faith as a way to scam people on a digital church sort of thing.
Correct.
You don't want to be that person, probably. Well, I'm guessing. Maybe, I don't know. I guess you don't want to be that guy.
No way, man.
But that's the sphere, right? Is that you can then become like the scam digital church guy, which there is a lot of them out there. And so for you think monetizing this is a way of like offering some form of like coaching or...
Yeah, coaching is definitely a way of monetization. I've tried that. That works a bit. I think I still need to be more stronger in the content side of things. If I need to like make that a kind of bread and butter. But I've never really dived into it because coaching is you're still giving away time for money. And I want the brand to bring in the revenue rather than me selling my time. I'm just trying to think out of the box here. When you said digital churches, that was quite interesting because I do think a lot of where the world is going is like communities are becoming way more hybrid and way more digital, right? So
there's a way to do it, eh?
Yeah, and when we say pastoral care, that's essentially a church term for coaching, or spiritual coaching, or you know, caretaking for people. And really the elements of pastoral care is when you come into a church, you're loving people, helping people, you're journeying with people, and you're making them feel like they can grow in their faith, right? And you use the Bible and you use prayer and different mechanisms to grow that. So digitally, that'll be quite interesting, but I do see a space coming up in the future.
Yeah, cool. Is it just something that you're sort of got on the back burner for now?
Back burner.
Because you're focusing on career?
Yeah, back burner right now. Just because when coming up with content now, like I'm finding myself, if I don't read, if I don't take myself to the edge of the cliff, I'm still going to be repeating myself from 2012, you know?
Yeah. And talk to me, last question about this stuff. Community. Where does your community, are you building one? Have you been building one? Does it hang out anywhere other than your profile?
So ICLC NZ, which is the tag, right? That's the community I'm trying to link people to.
So that's the in-person church. That's your dad's church.
That's the in-person, And I run the kind of young adults, kind of married couples kind of space in that. That would be my leeway into the brands. The brand's opening another door to another brand. Does that make sense?
And what do we got here? Linktree. Cool.
Linktree.
YouTube. So, cool. All your podcasts
and I use this actually. I use Revelation websites as a really good opportunity to create a network of affiliate churches. And that's part of my vision was 5-6 years ago is to actually help churches with their digital marketing and their personal branding. Now it's becoming more branding for the pastors and the preachers and the ministers because that's a big avenue there. But we would probably be one of the only exclusive agencies in New Zealand. That do what we do.
Yeah, nice. And how's that going? Is that still going fairly strong?
Yeah, pretty good. So that's run now by a colleague of mine. I'm just a shareholder, but we started that focusing on just doing graphic artworks, social media management, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, cool. All right. So talk to me. So then we met about 3 years ago.
Which was very interesting. I don't know how we met. I think you LinkedIn'd me.
I definitely would have messaged you on LinkedIn. And I mean, I was going through a stage of like finding community here in New Zealand because I'd only just moved back, right? Like I think we first met in 2019. And when I first met you, you're only really just getting onto LinkedIn a bit more then at that stage?
Like, I think about 1,500 connections.
And you're really only just starting to utilize it as a platform. So tell me, because we talked about this a few times in the past, is like, where does that faith finish and where does your career start? And you struggled with that at first, because I remember you've asked me a few times, like, how much, where should that line finish?
I think the struggle was, do I put faith content on LinkedIn? Right? 1. 2, is it relevant? Number 3, I'm trying to get through, business transactions here and grow revenue. But I don't see faith as the doorway to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? So I try to dabble through like leadership and like different topics like that are relevant to where I've been founded upon, and try to tackle that. And I think there's opportunity here. But my concern to this day is, am I pivot? Am I dividing the attention of my follower to be confused about who I really am.
Yeah.
And that's the question I still have for you.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think on your LinkedIn stuff, I've said this to you once before. Do you really care what people think about you? Which most of the time, these days, I think your answer is no.
Yeah.
I think maybe a few years ago it wasn't no so much.
Yep, agree.
But I think these days it's definitely a no.
Yep.
So then fuck it. Just do it. Because but think about it, think about our mutual contact and friend Murray.
Yeah.
Like that business relationship was strengthened because of faith.
100%.
Just because I don't, it doesn't resonate with me, or there are in New Zealand business community is quite a secular community already. Yep. So there's going to be a lot of people who it doesn't resonate with.
Yeah.
As long as it's not shoving it down their throat.
Yeah.
As in if you don't do this, you're
correct.
a fuckwit.
Yeah.
As long as it's that, I think there's still a space for it.
Yeah.
I think people can still be it. It still shows a little level of person that you are.
Yeah.
And there's still plenty of people who are very heavy in their beliefs
and faith. Yeah, I agree.
In the business world.
And it's untapped, eh? Okay.
Well, it's not done very much on.
You mean content hasn't been produced to target those people? Okay, good point. I'll take that on board, man.
Yeah.
I will take that on board.
Because you only need one, we probably need to talk about how you're going to then monetize that, because that's a different question, because then that will influence the way you do things. But let's say you're selling agency services like me, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're a marketing agency. You only need 20 of those people.
Correct.
To have a really successful business.
Correct.
So who cares about the other 70,000?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
And I think that people get it are really confused about that. They're like, oh, I want everyone to love me. It's like, well, everyone's not going to give you money. So.
Yeah, 100%. And what's interesting is you said, you keep using the word monetization. The problem is in the infrastructure of my brain capacity, I don't think monetization first. Yeah. Right? I think monetization last. Yeah. But what I think you're trying to inspire me to think is, if you know where you're going with this, you just work backwards.
Exactly. Well,
that's a good point, man.
For me, it's always monetization first.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to be on social media at all. And so why are you there? And for some people, it's just vanity. And that's fine. If that's what you want, go for it. I'm not going to judge you for wanting to that. Go for it. But knowing you over the last 3 years, money is a real big driver for you. And not just money because you want lots of money, but the success and career as well. And money is obviously a byproduct of that. And that's one reason why you've been more heavy into LinkedIn. So then it's well, don't beat around the bush. What's the point? Why are we here? Yeah. If we're here to monetize, then let's start there. Yeah. Because sometimes what I find happens if you don't do that, you become those scammy churches I talked about. Yeah. Okay. Because you're oh, I really need to turn a buck now. Yeah. And the easiest way to turn a buck is do the dodgy shit. Yeah. Or sell people crap. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you saw our video about the merch thing that we did last week. Not yet, but I've heard you've done a post. And it was a piss take, right? I didn't really want people to buy it, but I wanted to see the data and what would come back from it. But we made it out to be as shit as possible. Yeah. Because everyone else does this merch and they're all oh, look how cool my merch is. It's really good stuff. And it's not. None of it's ever good. Ours is terrible and we charge an outrageous amount of money for it because I actually didn't want people to buy it. But that's the scammy way of doing it. Yeah. For us, it's what's some real value we can do? So let's start there. So let's really invest time to think how do we monetize this long term? Correct. And then we'll work out the content that drives that audience there, right? And build a whole plan around that, right? So for me, it's always monetization first, right? And the word monetization is a weird one. Yeah. I don't think it's quite. Can you define it? Right? Or for me, it's taking. How do you take this audience that you have, and generate a revenue from them? Okay. Yeah. And for a lot of people, when they think of monetization, they think of all the scammy ones. Yep. They think of merch, they think of brand deals, they think of ads or whatever, click funnels and all that sort of shit. Yep. And for me, it's well, I get it. You can make money doing that. Yep. That's not a problem. But you're not really adding anything to this economy or this business world. You're 100%. Just skimming off the top. 100%. You're not really helping with anything. 100%. So for our thing, we obviously are doing marketing. Yep. And look, you could probably think of marketing as a bit of a bullshit industry itself. Yeah. Because we do it, everyone needs to do it. Correct. Things still sold back in the day before Mad Men came around. Yeah, 100%. But look, we do provide value. We do help produce some stuff, and I think that you're offering something that is of more value. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make merch that's very valuable. 100%. I bought there's this brand I watch on YouTube called LTT, Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah.
And I bought their bag and their screwdriver that they've released recently because I watched their journey for 3 years of them building these products, right?
Wow.
And how perfect they got each element of it.
Wow.
They spent millions like getting, well, I don't know, but they spent a shitload of money
100%.
getting these products perfectly right.
Right.
Because they didn't want to just put out shit merch. And so I'm bought into that story. They've bought something of value rather than just like.
How long have you been born into that story? For 3 years? Or longer than that?
Been watching them?
Yeah.
Yeah, for about 3 years, yeah.
So you, from day one, and you've been consistently following them?
I mean, they've been going longer.
Right,
I've been probably watching them for 6 years.
Right.
But they've been building this product for the last 3 years.
Right.
And I've been watching them do it and all the things that they're going through.
Right. So you're heavily emotionally invested.
Man.
That's good, man.
On like day one of sales of the bag, they sold something like 30,000 units.
This is going to be normal.
Yeah. $400 a bag.
Far out.
Yeah.
This is going to be the norm.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
100%.
Stories.
Yeah.
Because you probably felt you were the center of the story.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I justified it to Claire.
100%. So my question is, let's be active here.
Yeah.
This on the spot thinking, Stan's thinking.
Yeah.
Give me a
Stan's
blueprint of how you would monetize a unique unique brand like mine.
Faith
on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with you on LinkedIn is that, and I wanted to get into this, is that there's not been a direction.
Correct.
Like you've not stood for anything really yet.
100%.
And most of that's come down to because like you said it yourself, you've been discovering who Josh is.
Yep.
What's that career path you're taking?
Yep.
So I think for me, if I was looking at you, we'll sit down and go, okay, what does Josh need to do? It'd be like, well, what is the value you're going to offer people?
Yep.
Like, what is that?
Yep.
And just in a general direction too. Like
inspiring people to live out their faith. Okay, let's just say that's the direction.
Okay. So what does that mean?
Okay, that just means that every day in your workplaces, in your places of influence, in your decision making, in your networks, you're adding value and you're living the ways of Christ. Simple as that.
Okay, so that becomes something. So you got to then think about like, how do I package that up to sell it?
Yep.
And there's a couple of ways, right? You can have mastermind sort of mentor groups
Yep.
that are like community-based, pay a subscription, be
Yep.
part of a community. There is one-on-one consulting, coaching
Yep.
style level
Yep.
stuff. Or depending on the organization, which to be honest would be very limited people, is like a workshop level coaching, consulting sort of stuff, right?
Yep.
Where you go in for a workshop, you run a workshop with the team and you work them through a set of guiding principles that helps them do what they do.
Yep.
In faith, that's going to be real hard. You're going to get in smaller audience than what's already
100%.
there. So it probably leaves you with the other two.
Yep.
Now, the fourth one, which is just a pure digital product based one. The problem with digital product based one is that, like, for me, they are the easy way out. Like,
What do you mean by that?
they're like the cheap, scammy one.
Right, okay. No value.
No value.
Okay.
Because, you know, you can look at it when you watch, like, there's like usage statistics of like Skillshare and different places like that on online courses.
Yep.
And how many people actually finish a course.
Yep.
How many people start one, buy one, and actually use it. And it's little to no people finish courses.
Yep.
So there's something that people think, oh, this is the answer to all my problems. I'm going to buy this online course.
Yeah.
And then it does nothing.
Yeah.
So you're not really providing any value because nothing gets done with it.
Yeah, correct.
You just make lots of money.
Yeah.
You can still do it. If your end goal is just like make lots of money, then yeah, fine, go for it.
Yeah.
But like, I often feel like you can make a bigger impact and actually more revenue longer term and more sustainably if you've got a better business model for that.
Yeah.
For me, for you, because of your history of preaching, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mastermind community style one would be the way.
Right.
Like your Instagram that you've got here, there's already 6,800 strong people.
Yeah.
Like, how do you bring them into a place where they can actually interact and be part of something?
Yeah.
And then how do you bring everyone else into that and build that fast?
Yep.
Because there's no reason to follow this content.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it pops up on my feed, cool, interesting.
Yeah.
But there's nothing for me to get invested into. I'm not part of something. You know, like when people are now watching the football right now, right? And they're watching their teams. And
Very invested.
Very invested. They feel like that's their team.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
Yeah.
So why would I follow and get super invested? And then why would I pay you money?
Would the story have to be more engaging?
The story needs to be for you. either they care about Josh,
Yeah.
like they really care about your success, which could be a little hard for you to do. No, only because like your dad's the pastor of the church. Like really, what struggles do you have that you need people to care about?
Yeah.
But like I'm just being honest. But your followers do have struggles.
Yeah.
And so they could care about their own struggles that you help and bring a community in to support.
Right.
That's what church is anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do already in the church.
Yeah.
So how do you do that digitally?
Yeah.
And have a group of people that come together and build it themselves. Once you have a community that builds itself, then you get out of the way.
So you would say dive deep into certain themes and look into certain needs.
I would try find how do you facilitate interaction between the community daily.
Can you do that on LinkedIn?
You can do that everywhere. Okay. But you probably, so on LinkedIn, you got to think of them different. Like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok are top of funnel people into a deeper community.
Yeah.
So is the community on Discord, is it on YouTube? Like where is the community housed? That doesn't matter.
Right, okay.
That's not the big thing.
Okay.
All those social channels are just top of funnel feeders to the main community.
Right. And is there a platform for that community, that main community?
Oh, there's heaps of them out there if you want to find one.
Okay.
But I mean, you just use Discord.
Okay, cool.
Discord's the cheapest and it's got some of the best utilities on it.
Yeah, okay. Or you'd add them to a Telegram group or a group or something. Okay, cool. Makes sense.
There's multiple ways you can get
Okay, cool.
And
the purpose of that group is to nourish nourish the followers or nourish the people that are following you to be consistent or
and
to
build
stay
it as
engaged.
big as possible. And then how you monetize that group, you can decide. There's heaps of ways.
Okay, cool.
I mean, you could just have events.
Yeah.
Right? And you could just we've got a client who does that for cheerleading.
Yeah.
And they literally own cheerleading in New Zealand. And they've got an event in Hawaii in April, and they've had pre-sales of $3 million already.
Wow.
So, once you have an audience that will do anything for you and be part and believe in your thing.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, that has been the church for 2,000 years.
100%.
So how do you do the same thing? How do you build your own sort of group of people around a topic that's not, because you're going to differentiate it from church. You're just going to use faith to inform the things that you teach. Because yours is going to be, some of it surely has to be something around business and human performance and leading oneself, right? It's got to be something.
Personal development is
personal development, right? That's you in a nutshell.
100%.
So how do you find these people? These 18 to 30-year-old young faith-based people who are all who are going through their own discovery. Yeah. Right? Okay. And then how do you pull them into a room and have them all fully invested in each other? Right. And then however you can monetize that any way you want. I mean, you can do the scammy and sell them a course. Yeah. But I think that's not the best way to do it.
Content would be the backbone to building that brand.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn.
100%. That's all the top of funnel stuff. Yeah. So you put out heaps of content. Yeah. You drive those followers down into something deeper. Yep. Hey, if you enjoyed this, come join this group of people. That's free. Don't make the community cost.
Okay, gotcha.
Don't charge for the community. But what you want is you can't talk to everyone you want to on TikTok. We've got 220 something thousand followers now. You can't just talk to them. Right. Whenever you want. You can try, but if they don't care, they're not going to see it. But if they're part of a community that's actively participating, then you can just walk in, put a post up, and then they all see it. They all want to be part of it. Yeah. Because they're actively part of a community, right? Yeah, sure. So at that point, how you monetize them is up to you.
How do you see the world of attention evolving in the marketing space, right? Obviously, with personal brands, if there are going to be more personal brands coming into the space of the personal brand world, more attention is going to be diverted. Mm-hmm. What would your advice be to somebody that wants to, create their personal brand, and number two, somebody that already has an existing brand, then it's going to be competing for attention?
My advice would be that if you're doing the activity you need to do, don't worry, because no one else is. Okay. No one does it.
That's good feedback. Yep. I'll take that.
No one does it. No one tries. No one tries to build their personal brand. And so if you are, then you'll win.
Do you think that will be the active thing going forward, or do you think there'll be a shift in the way people look at things soon?
So take Instagram as an example. Yeah. Okay, so when Instagram and Facebook came in strong, before that, no little local Cookie Baker at the markets had a way of marketing themselves except going to the markets. Yeah,
correct.
And then Facebook and Instagram came along, and those who were really good at making content blew up, and then they became national brands.
Yeah,
right. It happened all over the world. This sort of stuff. You know how many people are still trying to do that and suck at it and get nowhere? Yeah. There's heaps of them. There's millions of Facebook pages, right, going nowhere. Yeah. So personal brands will be the same. I mean, personal brands have been around for a long time. It's just that it's become more accessible to do it.
Yes.
And so there's always going to be those who do it well and those who do it poorly.
Right.
And so you still have the same distribution.
What would you say is the difference between the ones that do it poorly and do it really well? Do you think it's...
I wouldn't say it's one difference, but I think there's probably some keys.
Three keys.
One is, the first is consistency always. Like, people don't stick at stuff.
Yeah. Consistency on the platform or consistency?
Whatever. Message, platform, content putting out.
Yep.
What do you actually do?
Yep.
Like, that's probably hurt you the most over the last 3 years, is changing things.
Yep.
Because it's not like, every time I saw you for a little while, it's like another thing going on, right? But you're young, so it's different. But building a personal brand, that's really hard when you're consistently changing. So consistency.
Correct.
Then in terms of the content, the quality of the creative.
Yep.
The quality of the content you put out is always big. Yep. And it doesn't mean that you need to have good content to start with.
Yep.
It just means you need to keep working towards better content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because too many people are like, they won't start because it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But just get it going.
Yeah.
And then you'll get better. Like our contents, you look at the stuff I first ever put out on LinkedIn compared to stuff.
Different.
It's just complete.
Huge difference.
Massive difference.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the third one probably supports the other two, is what is that money? Like, how are you going to get paid? Yeah. Because if you're just doing it for no reason, then it gets very unsustainable. Like, unfortunately, money just makes the world go around still. Yeah.
Like it will always be the case, though.
Exactly.
So I think it's not going to change.
So monetize the shit out of it.
Yeah, 100%.
And just try to find the best way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think about it, right? Like,
it's good.
That's how you do it. Make good content, put it out all the time, and then make money from it.
Yeah.
Which then feeds back into you being able to put out more content consistently.
Yeah.
And it's just that's all we've done. I mean, also recently we hired Sean. Like, it was just to make more. Like, when we hired Sean, we didn't really need her role, but we knew it was worth the investment to make more and better content. We didn't know how to do video very well, so we needed to do more videos, so we needed someone to help us support that side of things, which then Sean coming and doing more video for me, but then we started doing some for a couple clients that were already on board to give them a crack and see how we could do it, which then gave us the confidence to go hire a whole bunch more videographers and do more stuff, because then we're selling that as a package. Correct. And so it's just this virtuous cycle. Right?
Would you say stay on one platform or diversify your platform with average reach, or would you go?
What are you selling? That's the thing. Like, what are you monetizing?
Okay. Because everybody, there's a lot of people that will say, hey, let's go to the next shiny toy or the next shiny platform like TikTok.
That's why it took me 3 years to go to TikTok.
Yeah, I was telling you from day one, I was like, get onto TikTok. And I think you took your time. But
it took my time to do it properly.
But you did it strategically.
Ryan Melton was the same all the time, right? He was always like, get on TikTok. You should be on TikTok. Look at the views I'm getting. I was like, I'll get there when I'm ready. Yeah. And then it just so happened that we got there, got the right person, blew up. Yeah. And then just wiped the floor with everyone on it. Yeah. That was hard. We'd learned a lot. It wasn't just that TikTok was right. We had learned a lot as a team as well. Great. So all of those things came together to work together. Then strategy-wise, we had the strategy. Then we just got the right resource who could execute that strategy for us. Yeah. And then...
What's your goal for TikTok from the monetization standpoint?
It's already monetizing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. We've already got clients from it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was never the strategy. The strategy...
You've never sponsored an ad, eh?
Oh, we did some tests on one to see what would happen. It was really shit. It's really shit. Do you have logins to ours? Nah.
To what, sorry?
Do you have my TikTok, Taz's TikTok logins?
Yes.
Oh, you do? If you can log into Taz TikTok, I'll show you the ad. The ad's really terrible.
And you've got some response from that, from market feedback? Okay.
Oh, we got some response. We got some data from it too, but we just haven't had time to go forward. No, we've literally signed. We got I don't know, 7 clients.
Let's get New Zealand then, eh?
Oh, we've got a plan for New Zealand. No, what we're thinking.
We can't even put this online.
I don't care. I'm going to tell New Zealand, this is what we're going to do. Fuck you. We're going to go make a response to Ryanair as Air New Zealand.
Wow.
And just make it our own channel.
Wow.
and then make that channel blow up,
Yeah.
and then force Air New Zealand to buy it from us. Because what if we blow it up
That could work.
and get a few 100,000 people, and then they'll be fucked.
I think they have 0 followers on their TikTok.
They have
at the moment.
0.
Yeah.
There is a LastPass on this.
But
No,
there's
it's all
a
good.
huge potential there, man, for you.
I can show it on here. You can always put it on.
Money, willing to spend a dumb amount of money on. Are you an old fart with money, willing to spend a dumb amount of money on TikTok ads because you can't get your old fart brain to do it yourself? Because why do it yourself when you can just pay other people to do it for you? Welcome to the Attention Seeker, where we take your lots of cash and hard thinking out of TikTok ads so that you can continue being an old fart who pays pennies to dumb young people willing to do the work that you don't want to do. Sound like you? Let's have coffee. Are you an old fart with
So
money,
we did that as
What was the result from that?
Are you an old
from a click through and all stuff and all that sort of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, little to nothing. But we just wanted to see how would people react to something like that. 2.7 seconds was our average watch time.
Wow.
Yeah, which is low, real low. So it taught us a little bit that, because, we were riding on the high of like Joni being the main character of our story.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be some people here who know her, so they'll see her and at least watch a little bit.
Yeah.
And she's rappling off like this, like, she doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So we thought they'd at least watch it. Nah.
Yeah.
They saw sponsored, go right past.
I think there's a big problem when it comes to young creatives and them launching out their brand and doing what they need to do. I think perfection is the biggest obstacle.
Oh,
Right?
yeah, for sure.
Like you've rammed on about this for a long time.
Yeah.
It's that stigma of, yeah, I need to be perfect, or I need to like wait for the right conditions to start my brand. Like, there's an element of like shame, like, hey, I don't feel good enough about myself to
yeah.
do this, like, how do you overcome that?
Oh, like,
What would you say to a young creative that has a potential, but just does nothing about it?
so 99 times out of 100, that person will only be able to get over that on their own. Doesn't matter what you say to them.
Okay.
But those 1 out of 100s, all you can possibly say to them is like, put it out and learn from it. Is all you can do. There's nothing else you can tell that person.
Yep.
Because like, that is the main reason why some people become Charli D'Amelio. Or whatever, right? Because if we could all just get over it,
Yep.
then we would all put out lots of content,
100%.
and then not one person could rise to the top.
Yep.
Because there'd just be too much content
Yeah,
everywhere, right?
100%.
And we'd all get better at it and we'll do it.
Yeah.
So that's just the way humans are. It'll always be that way. Most people won't be able to.
Right.
You know? They just won't be able to be consistent enough in putting it out. I mean, Sian's a good example. Sian's real good at making the videos that she makes. Like, her stuff that she puts out is really good for her Sweet Home stuff.
Okay.
But her standard's so high that she will never put out the quantity that's needed to make Sweet Home blow up fast. It could blow up on long-term scale, don't get me wrong. Like, it can, it will, it probably will if she keeps at it. But in a short-term scale, it just won't. Because like, people, creatives have like, they need to put, that's how the platforms work. You need to be consistent and put lots out to get it there.
Yeah.
But their level of perfection is too high that they'll never be able to.
And even the concept of perfection is subjective. You know what I mean? Like, what's perfect to me is different to what's perfect to you, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've worked with some creatives and they would never put work out. They would never get their brand out. And really, to be honest, the success of today, people that have built personal brands have done it 5 years ago. They started sowing seeds 5 years ago. So the way I look at it is, if in the next 5 years, if I really want to blow up, I've got to do the hard yards now, I think that's the mindset.
Think about this. What do you want to blow up doing?
Yeah.
Because the thing we just went on about before is one option, but like, is it really the option you want? Who knows?
Correct.
Because actually, if it is, like, what you've actually just said is go start a church.
Yeah.
Because that's actually the better way. It's a proven model. You're the son of the pastor. Go do your own church, and it'll work.
Yeah.
That's actually the best way to monetize it.
Right.
Go start your own church.
Yeah.
That's actually the right
The
way.
traditional way. The
Yeah.
conventional way.
But you can use, it's a traditional business model or a traditional model with modern day marketing behind it, right? So you can blow up a church to be massive.
Yeah.
To build that as big as possible, rather than like the old way, which was just, I'm the local church, so you come to the local church, right? And you get the local footprint sort of coming to you, and then that sort of expands as families move and that.
Yeah.
But that's really that one. So what you really need to do is figure out what's the monetization point of view and start there. So it was like me, when I started this business, was always like, I knew that I wanted to sell some form of knowledge around this platform.
Yeah,
I just didn't know.
I need to find out exactly what you're saying is. How did you come from a place of chaos to clarity?
Yeah.
That's
Sales.
Okay.
Just sell shit.
You just wanted to be a salesman.
No, I just wanted to make money.
Okay.
And so I sold lots of shit. And then as I sold something and had to deliver it, I had to figure out, like, is this really what I want to do? Like, I built a full course of this stuff. And then the moment I built it, I was like, I never want to sell this.
Right.
This is so scammy.
Yeah, okay.
I've spent a summer building that. I still have it.
The first attention seeker iterative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like $2,000 or something.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it, but...
No. But, like, I still think...
What was it? Was it like a video course or something?
It's literally how we do the things we do.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do that again this summer. Or I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to put it on YouTube and give it away for free.
Right, okay, cool.
As a top of funnel thing.
Yeah.
But, like... Because a lot of people say this. They're like, oh, yeah, like, it's still working up in time. But, like, it's only been 3 years that I've been in business.
But your year-on-year growth is crazy.
Yeah, but that's because I always looked at monetization of it.
You've had 100% growth every year, eh? Would you say?
Yep.
That's unheard of. Like,
Nah, it's not.
is it?
If you look at, like,
Okay.
Deloitte's Fast 40 or whatever it's called,
Okay, fair call.
they're like 300-400%.
Okay.
Yeah. For a service-based business, it's pretty fast.
Okay.
It's not the fastest.
Right.
But we are fast when you look at it that we're service-based business with no investment.
But let me just add to that. Your agency versus other agencies is that your story is far more prominent in your long-term strategy than it is like with the likes of the ones in Ponsonby or in the city, you know, those big agencies that nobody knows of.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
intentional, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's the only way to sell it, or the only way I could grow it. The biggest brand possible.
Yeah.
So the goal was always to make my brand the biggest possible.
Has that flipped?
No,
Okay, still the same.
still same.
Okay,
The monetization was always first though, because the monetization pays for the growth of my brand.
correct.
So I have to make sure I'm making money, and then I have to make sure that the brand comes first. And then as that grows, I can bring in more brands. So like attention seekers coming in now, the other guys in the team. And as we grow, like I was saying to you the other day, right? Like our big hero audacious goal at the moment is 10 billion followers in the next 10 years.
That's huge.
That's huge, it's massive, right? So being able to capture all of that is about, you can only do that if you can pay for it. So the money comes first. Always money comes first. So like for you, like what you just said is like, oh, over the next 5 years, I've got this base. And why not just do it in a year?
That's interesting. That's a challenge, man.
Our first year of business was 390 grand.
Wow.
And then, we doubled that to like 890, 900 or something like that.
And you're hitting now over a million.
Yeah, this year we'll do like 1.5. Something like that.
Wow.
1.5, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying
1.5.
double down, figure out the clarity in the content, the creatives, and then just figure out your audience.
Get clear on what you want to sell. And start selling it.
Yep.
Just start selling it straight away.
Okay.
Just start selling it. Fuck it up.
I should just sell personal development course today. Create a framework of how to be your best self.
Yep. People do it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to do that. Maybe I should try it out. Eh?
Just do it. Just sell it. Doesn't matter what you sell it for. Just
how would you sell it? Give me an example. You just say, hey, this is purchase, go to this link and buy the course.
No.
Is that what you mean?
Sell privately. Always
Okay.
sell in person. Don't fucking do click funnels.
Yeah.
Don't do any of that shit, man. Don't be Ryan Melton. Yes, Ryan, I told you. Don't be fucking Ryan Melton. Don't use click funnels.
Okay.
Market publicly, sell privately.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't sell in your marketing.
So you're saying start DMs or initiate conversations, or are you saying
Put out content.
that make them want to spend time with you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's good.
That's
I like
it.
that.
And then solve their problems and get them to tell you.
Ask them questions.
How do you do that in a scalable way? Let's just say you have 50 inquiries. Do you just have somebody sitting on the LinkedIn?
Oh, the scalable way to do this is hire more people.
Oh, okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
VAs.
No, just hire
Yeah.
good salespeople.
Okay.
Yeah, hire good
Positive.
salespeople underneath you. But at the moment, I can handle the amount
How do you
that we have.
determine what to charge? This is a good question for those young
What
creators.
can you ask in the mirror confidently? Every time I put prices
That's
up,
more a self-esteem question, to be honest,
Yeah.
too.
every time
Because
I put prices up,
the way you
they said
value
yes.
yourself is going to be determined or seen through your price.
Yeah,
You could say you're worth $10,000, you know, but you have to believe it, like you said,
Yeah.
100%.
So a year and a bit ago, we didn't charge setup fee. And since then, I've charged 15 grand, 10 grand.
For one setup. Shucks, man.
And a year and a bit ago, we charged zero. I didn't, we needed to. I realized I'd priced it wrong, but.
Would you know what your client, the time it takes to get a client for you?
It's different. I had one client that just signed in after 1,000 days.
Yep.
Like literally 1,000 days on the day.
Wow.
And then other people who I meet, and the next day they pay me money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Top of the hour. I got to finish. I think I got a call at 3. Oh no, I got
good.
Jordan coming.
Hey, thanks, man.
Hey, thanks
Appreciate
for coming on. I appreciate you talking about
thanks so
stuff
much.
like that.
Quite candid.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
think I figured out the blueprint, eh?
Yeah, good.
We got to do part 2.
Yeah.
After you
Once he sorted it out.
some stuff.
Yeah. Stands
Really?
Yeah.
What's part 2?
Once you figure this out and you come back and tell us, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
then we
Okay,
can
so
rip
this
that
is an
model apart.
experiment, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. Damn.
Once you figure it out and you start selling it, then we'll come back and we'll rip the model apart. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's do that.
That'd be good.
Okay, cool.
That's quite value adding.
Yep. All right, we're done.
Cool.
Cool, man. Thank you.